it should not be misused. So that's why the control over the financial matters is a more important aspect in any government. I'm very sorry, students, because I have an urgent call. That's why I'm sorry. Okay, we'll continue. There are three type of major committees in a parliament. That is, one is the public account committee, second one is estimate committee, and third one is a public undertaking committee. We will see what are the roles and duties or functions of the each committee in this session. There are, remember it, there are three parliamentary committees we have, that is public accounts committee and estimates committee, and third one is public undertakings committee. Through this session, we are going to learn what is the role of the public accounts committee, estimates committee, and public undertakings committee, how they are controlling the finance in this country through the legislature. First, we will learn what is the importance and what are the functions of the public accounts committee. Generally, they called it a PAC. PAC. This committee was set up in the first in history, that is 1921. That means it's a way back before independence. Under the provisions of the Government of India Act 1919. It is very famous. Most of them are knowing that there is a Government of India Act 1919. Through that act, this committee was established, or this committee was set up in 1921. Is it right? That means it has a huge and very long history. That means we can see before independence also. Before independence, generally, it is a 22 members of the committee. 22 members committee. That means in this committee there are 22 members. 15 members from the Lok Sabha and 15 members, seven members from the Rajya Sabha. Total members of this committee is 22. Remember it, 22 members, and 15 from the Lok Sabha and 7 from the Rajya Sabha. Most of them are aware there is two houses in Parliament. One is a lower house, generally called it Lok Sabha, and another one is upper house, Rajya Sabha. From Lok Sabha, we have for the pack 15 members, and from Rajya Sabha 7 members. The members of the elected, the members are elected of the Parliament every year from among its members according to the principle of proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. That means these people will select, or these people is selected by the among the representative members of the Parliament. That means whoever elected as Parliament members, either it is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, among them they will select through the principle of single transferable vote, that is a proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. They will appoint. That means that all parties, that means in the proportional way, if some party having huge members in like representative members in the Lok Sabha, according to that proportion, they will get the members number. Is it right? Proportional representation by means single transferable vote. That means all parties get a due representation in it. That means that committee having the representation from the all the parties, whoever the parties having members in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. That is the term of the office. After electing the members, the term of the office is majorly 1 year. The duration of this committee is 1 year. Is it right? And at the same time, there is a other guideline. That means a minister cannot be elected as a member of this committee. A minister cannot be elected as a member for this committee. That means the rest of the members, not the ministers, rest of the members we can choose as a committee members. But that as per the rule, minister is not the member of in this committee. Is it right? Then how would we elect as a chairman? How we are appointing a chairman? Is it right? The chairman appointed by the speaker among its members. Within the 22 members, speaker can appoint as a chairman. Until 1966 to 67, the chairman from committee belongs to the ruling party. Remember, that means before 1966 or 1967, the chairman was appointed from the ruling party. That means whatever the party got the majority seats in the general election, that ruling party member can appoint as a chairman or chairperson for this committee. After 1967, the tradition of the Parliament, remember, it is not the rule, it is the only tradition. That means may we exercise or we may not. May we can exercise or we may not exercise the tradition. But generally, they followed that tradition. After 1967, the chairman may be appointed, maybe chosen from the opposition party. That means there is a chance to examine all the financial related issues by the opposition party member. member. Is it right? So before 1967, there is a tradition. The chairman was appointed from the ruling party. After 1967, the tradition has changed. They're giving chance to the opposition party leader. Opposition party leader. That means if you understand this situation, maybe if any ruling party get huge majority in the parliament, that means there is a guidelines for the opposition party also. If you don't have that status in opposition party in the parliament, that means you don't have chance to get appoint as a chairman. That is also important. So far you can remember it. This committee was set up in 1921 through the Government of India Act 1919, and total members of this committee is 22. 15 members from the Rajya Sabha, 7 members from the 15 members from the Lok Sabha, and 7 members from the Rajya Sabha. And the committee duration is 1 year. They will select as the principal proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Before 1967, the chairman was appointed from the ruling party. After that, the tradition has changed. 1967 onwards, they are giving chance to the opposition party. This is the committee introduction and the composition of the members and the tenure of the committee. So far, you have any doubts? You may ask anyone in chat box also. Otherwise, I'll move to the next point. And what are the functions of the committee? What are the functions of the committee? Generally, we are set up some committee to control over the financial issues. What is the functions of the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee? We have to see. That is, the functions of the committee is to examine the annual audit reports of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Mainly, the functions of the committee is to examine annual audit reports of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, which laid before the Parliament by the President. That means that whatever the CAG duty is there. That means annual audit report before to present through the President, before to the Parliament. This committee is examining. How that audit reports President. What is the status of the expenditure done through the ministries and administration. And at the same time, CAG may submit three different type of annual reports. And that is namely audit report on appropriation accounts. And the second one is audit report on finance accounts. And third one is audit report on public undertaking. See, the committee, the main function is to examine the annual reports of the CAG, that is Comptroller and Auditor General, before laid to the Parliament by the President. That is the main function. And at the same time, CAG present the three different types of annual reports. That is three types of annual reports. That is audit report on the appropriation accounts. And second one is audit report on finance accounts. And third one is the report on public undertaking. That means PAC examine all three committee all three audit reports submitted by the CAG. That is, and the committee examines the public expenditure not only from legal and formal point of view to discover the technical irregularities, but also from from the point of view the economy, wisdom, and property, bring out the cases of the waste, loss, corruption, inefficiency, and other irregularities happen in the financial flow. So the committee may check the technical irregularities. Sometimes we are disbursing money through different accounts. Generally, that program having some specific type of account, we need to define it, which account we have to disburse the money and what we have to mention in the annual financial statement, that is a budget. According to that budget, or we are allocating or we are disbursing the money or not. These are technical things. These are technical irregularities. When we have planned it, when they have disbursed, when they spend, how much of money they spend, and whether they are doing any waste, loss, corruption, all these things, inefficiency to utilize the money whatever we allocated. All these things the committee examines. Is it right? That is the main. And at the same time, another function also is there to examine the accounts of the state corporations, trading, concern, and manufacturing project, and the audit report of the COG on them. Is it right? That is also. And to examine the accounts of the autonomous and semi-autonomous bodies, that audit which is conducted by the CAG. Is it right? Examine the accounts of the autonomous and semi-autonomous bodies. This may happen by the request of the state government. Maybe CAG involved in the state financial issues with a request by the state only. And at the same time, another function to consider the report of the CAG relating to the audit of any receipt or examine the accounts of the stores and stocks. Is it right? This is actually. So whatever it is related, whatever we mentioned, whatever we get the sanction that the budget amount, these are waste, irregularities, and technical things, and corruption, all these things. That is the main duty of the CAG to examine. Is it right? That is the main function of the CAG. Is it right? Further, the CAG may helps to the CAG. How we need to check it? What are the methods we have to assess it? All these things. These are all technical advice, technical support CAG may provide to the CAG. That means Public Accounts Committee. Remember it. All the members from the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, they are people representative. May they have technical knowledge or may not. Is it right? Sometimes people, the representatives, the members of the PAC doesn't have technical knowledge and financial related knowledge, even though that CAG may support to the Public Accounts Committee to scrutinize, to examine all the related issues of the financial irregularities. That's why CAG as a card, or CAG acts as a guide, friend, and philosopher for this committee. That means entire the way, the pathway, entire the method and everything technical support given by the CAG to the public accounts committee. That's why they called it CAG as a guide. It can guide how to assess it. It's a maybe friend how to look into the issues and philosopher what we have to see. So CAG act as for this committee. CAG act as a guide, friend, philosopher for this committee. Is it right? That is. That is. So these are the functions. These are the functions done by public accounts committee generally for the period of 1 year. For the period of 1 year. Then what is the drawbacks? What is the criticism? What is the criticism and fact? What is the criticism and fact? Is it right? So we have to see that perspective also. Just we have seen. No, please, Karthik. Can you mute yourself? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so we have seen that is what is the composition and the tenure, how the people is elected for the this committee, and what are the functions of the committee. What are the functions of this committee? Just we will move forward to little. That is what is the criticism and what is the drawbacks of this committee. What is the criticism and the drawbacks of the committee? Just we can see that it is not concerned with the questions of the policy in broader sense. That means the committee having right to examine all the 3 reports submitted by the CAG by the president to the parliament, but it doesn't have any right to question on that policy. That means if any government says that money has been allotted for the implement or formulate for the policy, that committee doesn't have any right to question on that policy matters. To question on that policy matters. Is it right? If that money or accounts that is related to policy matter, that is a policy of the government. If they don't have any right to question it, that the policy matters. And at the same time, it's conduct a post-mortem examination. Post-mortem examination. That means showing the expenditure already incurred. That means whatever we spend that money, whatever through the budget, whatever through the financial statement, whatever the amount we have, after spending of that money, the committee is examined. That means it is a post-mortem duty. Post-mortem duty. That means to check day-to-day administration, to stop anything. The committee doesn't have any. After spending of the money, the committee examines, is there any irregularities or ways, laws or corruption is there in the financial flow or not. So it can only do the post-mortem examinations. Post-mortem examination. That is second one. And it cannot intervene in the matters of the day-to-day administration. Day-to-day administration. That means yearly they can audit, they can examine the reports of the CAG, and at the same time they don't have any right to interfere in the day-to-day administration. Yearly they will do all the audit reports, all the examining, everything. Is it right? And at the same time, it is not wasted with the power of the disallowance of the expenditure by the department. And to whatever the amount allocated to the administrative missionaries, to dissolve. They don't have any power, and it is not an executive body, and it can give only advisory and suggestions. It can act as a only advisory, and it can give only suggestions. They don't have any power to control the executive and to take the final decision on its findings. See, that means there are so many limitations for that fact. There are so many limitations that the fact that is it cannot question the policy matters, may not reduce or de-relevance the whatever the amount sanction to the department, and it don't have any executive powers. Executive powers are powers to take a final decision, and it can not intervene, it cannot involve in the day-to-day administration also. That means it can do only post-mortem after spending the. These are the limitations of the public accounts committee. These are the limitations of the public accounts committee. So far, we have learned what is the public accounts committee, how it is a composition. That means who are the members for the committee, and what is the tenure of the committee, and what is the procedure of the chairman, like chairman, how we elected the chairman, and the next one is functions of the public accounts committee, and last one is limitations of the public accounts committee. Is it right? This is a overall. This is the information relating to the public accounts committee. So far, if you have any doubt and clarity on this committee, you may ask. And it's a welcome, or it's a welcome also to the chart. And the next committee is estimates committee. Estimates committee. The second most important and another important committee is estimates committee. This committee was also set up and originated in 1921. That means same like the public accounts committee. Public accounts committee. Is it right? The consists of the committee consists with the 30 members. 30 members. All are from the Lok Sabha only. Lok Sabha only. No representation from the Rajya Sabha. All 30 members come from the Lok Sabha only. No representation from the Rajya Sabha. Is it right? And the chairman also elected among the appointed or identified members of the 30 members. That means the chairman also from the Lok Sabha only. That the Rajya Sabha doesn't have any representation. While Public Accounts Committee having the Rajya Sabha representation, Estimation Committee doesn't have any representation from the Rajya Sabha. That is, you need to remember it. And at the same time, same principle, a minister cannot be member for this committee. Estimates committee also, the minister cannot be elected as a member of this committee. The chairman of a committee, the chairman of the committee appointed by the speaker among its members, its members. Is it right? That is composition of the estimates. The history of the estimates committee was set up in 1921, and the members of the committee is 30. All are from the Lok Sabha, no representation from the Rajya Sabha. You need to understand very clearly. Act having representation from the Rajya Sabha, that estimates committee doesn't have any representation from the Rajya Sabha. That is the main function of this committee is examine the estimates, including the budget and suggested economies in the public expenditure. The main function of this committee is the estimates to examine the estimates including the budget and suggested economies. The suggested economies means is there any program and extension and revenue generation, all these things. We, if there anything, this committee may examine. Further, this estimation committee selected few departments every year. Every year, the estimates committee selected few departments. Remember it, it's not for all the departments. It can select few departments and examine the estimations That means that the estimates committee doesn't examine all the ministries estimations by selected ministries only. You have to remember that point also. And at the same time, this committee having other name, it is a rolling committee. That means 1 year it is not possible. So in a 1 year, it is not possible to review and examine all the administrative ministries. Is it right? So they selected few administrative missionaries at departments, and it will examine. That is. And at the same time, this committee doesn't have any role to estimate the public undertakings department financial issues. Is it right? Public undertaking allocations and all those things. Is it right? So that is also one of the thing. And this is the primary information related to the estimates committee, when it was founded, and what is the composition of the estimates committee, tenure of the committee, who are the members of this committee, what is the functions of the committee. And now we'll see, like similarly, the fact limitations of the fact. That is it examine the budget distribution only after they have been voted by the parliament, not before. See, in a budget enactment process, yesterday we have learned there is a voting on a demands and grants. Is it right? This committee having a right after voting only. Before voting, they don't have any right. They don't have any right to examine it. It can examine only. Okay, sorry guys. So we have to learn about the limitations of the estimates committee limitations also. That is, the first limitation is it's examine the budget estimations only after they have been voted by the parliament. Before that, they don't have. They don't have any right. Right, another limitation, it cannot question the policy laid down by the parliament. If it is related to policy issue, that this committee also doesn't have any right to question on that policy, like a act. And its recommendations are advisory and not binding on the ministries. That means whatever you give the suggestions and advice, it can ministry may follow or may not follow. May followed or may not follow. That is a wish of the ministry. But the estimation committee, whatever it suggested, it is only advisory. And at the same time, it is examined every year only certain selected ministries. Remember, this is the most important. Remember, that means only certain selected ministries it can examine, not all. That means to examine all the ministries estimations, it will take more time. It will take more time. That means comprehensively we didn't get any information on each ministry. Is it right? That is also, and it lacks the expertism of the CAG. That means CAG is not supporting or not guide anything to the estimates committee. It can provide their services to their services or their advisory, their guidance, and everything back home. That is public accounts committee. And it is same time, it is same like the fact that it's work in the nature of the post-mortem only, because already that voting has done in parliament, no way to cut it. Is it right? It is also having post-mortem tools. It is also having only post-mortem tools. Is it right? This is the brief information relating to the estimates committee. That is one of the second committee in the parliamentary committees. Control over the financial issues. First one is public accounts committee. The second one is estimates committee. And the last one is committee on public undertakings. The public undertakings. Is it right? So far you have any doubts? Please, you may ask for these two committees. You may welcome in this chat box also. Right. This committee that is a committee on the public undertaking. This committee was created in the 1964 on the recommendations of the Krishna Menon. Just you can remember that the remaining two committees, Public Accounts Committee, Estimates Committee, having a long history. Before independence, we have that committees in 1921 to the Government of India Act 1990. Is it right? The Estimates Committee, there is some point that is John Mathai, then Finance Minister of India, as suggested in 1950. But the Committee on Public Undertakings Committee was created in 1964 on the recommendations of the Krishna Menon Committee. Originally, it had 15 members, 10 from the Lok Sabha, 5 from the Rajya Sabha. 10 from the Rajya Sabha and 5 from the 10 from the Lok Sabha and 5 from the Rajya Sabha. In 1947, its membership was raised up to 22, like a Public Accounts Committee. That is 22, 15 members from the Lok Sabha and 7 members from the Rajya Sabha. Same principle here also we can apply it. That is, members of this committee are elected by the parliament every year from among its own member according to the principle of proportional representation by means single transferable vote. That means all parties will give representation on it. The term of the office is 1 year. Same principle. That means a minister cannot member in this committee also. Remember, all three committees. A minister cannot member in this. Is it right? And the chairman of the committee is appointed by the Lok Sabha Speaker from among its members who are drawn from the Lok Sabha only. Remember, this is a very good principle. That means the chairman come from the only Lok Sabha members. whoever represented the 15 members from the Lok Sabha, among the 15 members, the speaker can appoint one person as a chairman. But whereas that the fact having also this principle, but we can appoint a member from the Rajya Sabha, chairman from the Rajya Sabha also. But here that is not possible. That is not possible. Only Lok Sabha member can be appointed as a chairman for this committee. Is it right? Remember it. There is a differences. That is, and this is the composition, and the tenure is a 1 year. Tenure is 1 year. This is the composition and brief history of the public account of the committee on public undertakings. Public undertakings. Just we will see very shortly. That is what is the functions of the public undertakings. The committee examine the reports and accounts of the public undertakings. Examine the reports and accounts of the public undertakings. To examine the reports of the Comptroller and Auditor General on public accounts. See, generally CAG submitted 3 different type of reports to the President of India. 3 different type of reports into the President of India, and we learn that thing in the time of public accounts committee. I have discussed that things in the public accounts committee. That reports are audit report on appropriation accounts and audit report on finance accounts, and the third one is audit report on public undertakings. That means here whatever that CAG has submitted to the President, that public undertaking reports, this is the responsibility of the Committee of Public Undertaking to examine it. That is, and the third one is to examine whether the affairs of the public undertakings are being managed in accordance with the sound business principle and commercial practices. Is it right? That is also. These are the main functions of the public undertaking committees. Like that, the committee also having some limitations like PAC and EC estimates committee. We will see what are the limitations we have. It cannot take up the examination of the more than 10 or 12 public undertakings in a year. That means this committee having a very limited role. It can confines to the only 10 to 12 public undertakings in a year. Like estimates committee, it can work as a certain department or certain units. It can examine. Like the committee on public undertakings also can select 10 or 12 public undertakings and it can examine. And it works in the nature of postmortem and seeing whatever the remaining committees having the limitation. This committee also having same limitation. That means it is the postmortem only, and it is not looking to the technical matters as it is members are not technical experts. See, we can understand what is the knowledge and the technical knowledge of the representative members of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. That means the literacy rate and educational qualifications of the MPs for Rajya Sabha and MPs of the Lok Sabha. So it does not any help. That means we can observe what is the sanctity of the committee also, and at the same time its recommendations are only advisory, not binding on the any ministry. Is it right? Maybe these advices may ministry follow or may not follow. Is it right? So these type of limitations we have in this committee also. So it is a only postmortem. It can examine the only 10 or 12 undertaking committees reports and it does not look after the technical matters, and its members are not technical experts, and it can the recommendations are only advisory. The main is only post-mortem. So these are the three committees are important. Parliament committees are important to control over the financial issues. Maybe you all are having one doubt, sir. Every committee having limitations. That means only post-mortem duty they can do. Then how can they control the financial issues? That means these are all reports. These are all reports they presented in the parliament. Right? That means whatever the irregularities, misuse, and disappropriations, and waste and loss done in the previous year, that means government is responsible. Government is responsible. Further, for the next year estimations, for the next year, next financial reports, they may check, they may check, and they may verify, and they may taking care of all these irregularities, and then there is a chance to correct it for the next financial. That means indirectly through the parliament, through the committees, we are controlling the legislature, so to not misuse the public or public fund. So even though it is a postmortem, based on that reports, we may correct. That means government mistakes or any financial mistakes we may correct. Is it right? Because all political parties may ask why this kind of irregularities has happened in the previous year. Is it right? That is. So this can be happened. This can be happened through that these committees we can control the financial matters. Is it right? These are the three committees. Just I will summarize. To control the financial, there is a parliamentary committees. Mainly three committees are there. One is Public Accounts Committee, and the second one is Estimates Committee, and the third one is Committee on Public Conduct. Each committee having a position. That means how the members are selected. Public Accounts Committee, there is a 22 members, 15 from the Lok Sabha, 7 from the Rajya Sabha. Is it right? Chairman appointed by the speaker among the members may from Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But there is a one tradition or convention after 1974, the chairman should elected from the opposition party for the bank. Is it right? And main function of these committees to examine the reports of the whatever the reports submitted by the CAD. And like that, estimates committee is there. Estimates committee confined to the only Lok Sabha. There is no representation for the Rajya Sabha. Totally 30 members are there. And this is also 1 year. Minister cannot be a member of the. It is also having examining the reports of estimations of the ministries, which has some limitations like that. But here doesn't have any support from the CAG. But CAG having a support. That's why CAG called as a friend, guide, and philosopher. But Public Undertaking Committee also there, and it can examine the public undertakings units, financial matters, and annual reports and audit. These are all things examined, and CAG whatever is submitted to the president of India. And here also some limitations. So this is the overall perception of the parliamentary committees on financial related issues. If anyone having more clarity or anyone having doubt, you may ask. You may welcome in chat also. If you have any doubt or further clarifications for these three committees, you may ask in chat also. No problem. Anyone, please? Okay, I will close this session for 2 days. Tomorrow we will meet with another topic. Generally, we can prepare it. That is the most important one of the agency or institution, that is CAT, Computer and Auditor General. What is the role of the Computer and Auditor General in the field of financial administration? We will see in tomorrow class. Thank you.